Up next on MCTV Local 13, Machina Corps brings us Sketchbook Dissections. It's always nice to look back when the demons and monsters were only infants.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
This is Sketchbook Dissections and my cat is pissing. Hello, this is Sketchbook Dissections with Chandra Free. Today we're going to go over this relic from high school, my senior year of high school. This is 1999. And I was, I think I was 17 years old, just in the beginning. It's 2 is put on here, I think, for, I don't know, but at least I dated it, right? That's good. And of course we've got Magic Knight Rare sticker from the Saturn game, and we don't care about that, do we? Okay, so here we are, some really frickin' psychedelic hot color. Well, it's not psychedelic, is it? But it's just like describe who you are and all that other jazz. I don't know, I was into pandas at the time, and moons and other things, and of course, you know, Chandra and Chandra. Oh my god, we get it. Jeez Louise. Kawaii desu ne. What does this say? Glory. I don't know, like I guess I was making a character named Glory. This is just gonna be some weird old stuff. That's pretty much it. Like, you know, when you're a 17-year-old trying to discover what your style is and what you want to study and whatnot. And anyway, so this is a life portrait of my best friend Amanda. This looks like her, which is a big plus, I think, you know. What does it say? $831.99. Interesting, okay. This is a picture from my mom. My mom drew in my sketchbook, because I guess everybody and their brother had to do that, because, of course. Oh, Super Teacher. So Super Teacher is the comic, my high school newspaper's comic that I did, that I created, and it was based off the teacher Mr. Palmer, which I never had, but I guess he was going to go against grasshoppers? I don't know. Anyways, so here's another anime thing, because, you know, anime was, well, it was big in my world at the time. Oh, here's my muse from high school, JT. He's the bassist for Evil God in The God Machine, my book that will be coming out in the future. Again, interesting. Anyway, so I did a pen only, which is kind of crazy. Like, that was not my thing that I'd ever do, but it, you know, when you do pen only, you it forces you to commit to your drawing, your mistakes and whatnot, and make it work. So I think that's pretty brave of me, and actually pretty decent image. Oh, Evangelion sketches! Oh, look at that, they're all cute, little chippies. Oh, little Misato getting drunk, and Kararu, ugh, I can say this stuff, Shinji, Ritsuko, Rei, Asuka looking bitchy, and some dragon, and is that really supposed to be Shinji's mom? Oh no, angst! Well, it had to happen, right? What does it say? Can you let me go? Can I just try to fly away off that cliff? Can I feel silence? No. I really thought I was something. Oh no! Let it go, Chan Amanda. This is 99. We originated the whole let it go thing, okay? Lane! Beautiful Lane sketches for a 17-year-old. I mean, this is great. Of course, this is from directly copying from, well, you know, like when you look at a piece of work and then you try to reproduce it. Another pen drawing, this time a drawing of myself. That's very cool. What the heck is this? Naked child and mirror dark. Oh, this must be like some kind of like idea for a bigger piece, I think. Here's another picture of, I'm assuming this is probably Amanda too. I don't know what that says. This is what we call being bored. In English class. So trying to struggle to be awake. So this is Mr. Anderson, and these are some doofus kids that probably made fun of me because they're jerks. Oh wow, it says Anderson down there. Oh, yes. Oh. So here's my character Kawaii. Yes. Don't send in hate comments of, oh, you use Kawaii to name your character. You're so cool. Don't you know that? Yeah, I know what it means. I knew what it meant when I selected it out of a Japanese dictionary. Anyway, she's cool as fuck, okay? Cute little chibi drawings of my art table. I guess I never finished him. That's me. That's cocky me. That's Amanda. That's Kim. How, like, what kind of different styles you can take from, like, drawing, I guess, the Virgin Mary from life or something like that. So we got stipple, we've got, like, never leaving the pencil off the paper, all sorts of different things. I'm sure, like, some blind stuff in here, too. It's really interesting to see 17-year-old do a lot of those types of things. Pimp Daddy Bugs and his two bimbets, I guess. Can I say bimbets? I have no idea. They're his hoes, I guess. I mean, he's the pimp. Wow. I have no words. What a silly wabbit. Okay, so this is my design. My original design. I'm just going to kind of leave it where the character art is. This was a design for a mural at a middle school that I would be, I would design it and all the fellow students would help make it come true. There's some notes from my art teacher about like some of the things that they wanted to be in this. This is for middle school, you know, I was thinking like Tiny Toons, so I was going with that design. No, they wanted more like Florida Gator, so I made this tough and rough dude, and I'm not happy about that. So now we have this big ass thing. What does it say? Let's read it, why not? Death, it builds us, it creates us, it destroys us. The builder, the destroyer, the creator, horrible lover of the grave. Many have fallen, many have risen. Grief and joy, the toys of fate, and fate is never kind. God. Cruel it is today? I'm not sure about this word. Are you next to visit that darkness, bottomless grave? Are you ready? Good night. Oh goody, I'm getting really into this angsty phase. Oh dear. This is my poetry phase and my angsty phase. Writing at a slant. Bow wow, gothic terrier, gnawing at my brain, balancing checkbooks on needles, and hey, presuming you are dead, can I have your socks? And you played with my game. And could not win. Oh, we're not gonna continue that. It's just so dumb. It's fun though. So this this is, I guess, a design for what I was going to do for my 3D sculpture, which was going to either, I guess, be me or a girl, and have water underneath, and a bridge, and tree, and great, ambitious. I never did it. This is cool. That's a good lane picture. Girl and another girl. Ooh, this is fun. I think this is based on a Tori Amos song. Horses. Yeah, that makes sense. So I was illustrating the lyrics of it. So that's cool. Finding all of the inspiration from these sources and putting it to paper. I could learn a lot from myself. My younger self. Oh, jeez. Anyway, so I start trying to figure out a new character, a new series, because I did Brandy the Star Child, where Kawaii is from, and I just wanted to do something different, and I was really, not liking anime so much, but I wanted to kind of fuse that together with things, and so this girl, who is, wow, she's barely 99, was one of those moments, and I was like, nah, that's not right. This is bullshit, we're not gonna read that. Oh, this is me and a friend and another friend. I think it's 2 people. We just take turns drawing something, so this isn't really mine. I think this is a character from online. I forget the person's name, but I did this for him. Oh, it says 2000. Chan's 18 now. Oh, this is a sketch of myself that I took of myself. So a photo of myself that I took where I had black lipstick and I was trying to be all gothy. Oh, Lord. Okay. So this is when I discovered I was bipolar, and I printed out a lot of things, and I illustrated some things that go with it. So also clinical depression. Cool. We're continuing on. Again, searching for that perfect character. I don't know who this character is, and I don't know what my big next project is, and I'm searching for it through this. And of course that's a picture of me, I'm pretty certain. But I'm playing with hair and eyes, and I'm just failing. Totally failing. The angst. Can you feel the angst tonight? This is after I listened to that damn song Blue by Eiffel 69? Is that right? It would be funny if it was. I went ahead and drew a villain guy that was kind of based on it. I think later we get to see another version of that. He has a Cats t-shirt on? Whoa! I had never seen Cats, not even the new movie. I would read that, but I don't feel like it. Picture of me and my cousin. Little chibi versions of us. I have no idea what this is, but it's cute. Angel food cake with a little bit of splash of color. It's good. Oh, we're still searching, aren't we? We're searching for something. Garbage. Oh, me going against the KKK. That's fun. Don't understand that, but okay. This is cool. That's really cool. Isn't he pretty? He's got eyelashes. Rattle! Oh my goodness! I did a Rattle in high school. So Rattle is one of my first characters I ever created. And he's loosely based off of Garfield, because Garfield was such a major influence on my younger itself, and so Rattle kind of came out of that, like mainly like Snake-O, his stupid brother, had kind of those eyes, and then I also did just those eyes were the big thing, and of course I don't know why I was like, it's got to be a snake. But I created him when I was in 5th grade, and I decided to bring him back for 12th grade. Hate Machine. Oh, I wonder what the hell I was listening to. Looking for that character. Can't find it. There's the lava lamp. I had 2 of them actually. Gave one to my roommate recently because it just was a bringer of bad memories. So why not pawn it off on your roommate? Yeah, so I'm searching for that character that's going to be the character, the whatever is going to spark my mind and my imagination, and I just can't get it. And of course I was trying to go with the female character and it just wasn't happening. More kawaii. Cat on chair. That's actually not so bad. Cats are hard to draw. This was a reference picture. I can't remember exactly what it was. This looks like Gwyneth Paltrow. Ugh. Anyways, oh, here we go. Here's the blue. It's a blue world. Da-da-dee, da-da-doo. I hated this song, but yet here it is in my fucking sketchbook. And I was trying to illustrate what that was, and oh my god, this screams of 2000 now. Naked Chickadee. I guess someone's fursona. Andy. Must have been an internet thing. My aunt's, we were going to do a mural for my aunt by her pool. And apparently that's my uncle, and that's my mom's awful husband. That's why he has devil horns. And uh-oh, what has been a big inspiration? Uh-oh, what has been a big inspiration? Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. Oh my. Well, there's Johnny. That's a really good reproduction of that too. Looks like coffee? Blood? My friend Jessica. Oh, great. I'm glad I put names down. More pandas. Me drawing Jonan stuff, Squee, Jonan, Knee, Happy Noodle Boy. These are really good reproductions of it. Good. Yay. 18 years old. Still looking for that style. It's still not happening. Let's see, I have homework I should be doing. Oops. Oh, very good commentary. This is a lot of stuff, you know, just looks like I was using photographs of a lot of friends and myself and all sorts of stuff. I'm just trying to figure out, like, no, just drawing. Cry for the Dead, more angst because we missed it. Awful angst. Next. Oh no, my deep dark secret. God, do I address this? No. Okay, I like Dave Matthews, okay? Get off me, okay? Like, who cares? Dave Matthews is kind of douchey though, so there we go. I was 18. Anyways. Again, looking for style. It's I'm getting there. This is probably a good indicator where I'm going. Then the creeper. Anyways, the creeper. This is actually a character that shows up in the God Machine. Blah. Fun wood marker and designs. Burn page, and here we are. Okay, so this is really important. This is probably the most, besides the creeper, this is probably the most important page, this one in particular. There's more on this side, but we'll get to that in a second. It starts over here and then it starts to bleed over there. Right here is the first picture of Guy Salvatore. And this, I just loved what I drew, and I had to draw him again. And I had to draw him again, and I had to draw him again and again and again and again, and then he had a girlfriend, and then he had a brother. Well, there's his brother. That's his brother's friend. And I just kept on going and going, and this is like, it was like magic, you know, like when you figure out that thing that it was searching for in all those other pages beforehand, this was it. Guy was it. Like, he was my gateway to something bigger. And here's another page, Zloy. I forgot about Zloy. I should really revisit this stuff. There's Witchy Cranky Poo. There's more Sith. That's her best friend, Sunshine. I don't even know if we'll ever see that, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, well, here's the roaches, the cockroaches, right? They show up. But here we are, the little basis of the God Machine, right here. 18. I don't even know if I have a date on any of this. But it's so monumental because I start figuring it out. This elongated style, this kind of putting two and two together, a little bit of that anime influence and the goth influence that I'm starting to get into. And I'm just creating all this stuff. There's Witchy Cranky Poo again. I forgot that she started so early. But yeah, Sif was an artist, and the evil side, good side, angel and devil kitty. How about that? And me with red hair. This is when I started dyeing my hair red. By the way, I'm natural blonde. I started dyeing my hair red when I was 18. That's when that started, by accident. I meant to go darker, but red just stuck. Anyways, So this would be the beginning of God Machine. We still got a few more pages left, but this is something that really makes an impact in my life. Alanis Morissette, that's a cool Alanis Morissette. A hanging tree, oh, that's scary. Oh, don't drink and be insane. Oh my, mother was giving me alcohol early. This is a JT drawing. And the last page is mine. And some lunar stickers on the back. And that is year 1999 to 2000. The birth of the God Machine and a transformation from the anime girl to something else. I guess that's what I am now. And that's it for Sketchbook Dissections with me, Chandra Free.
to Sketchbook Dissections. I'm just going to take a look at some of my old sketchbooks, figure out what year they are, how old I am, what was going on at the time, what are my influences, all kinds of fascinating stuff. But let's go ahead and dive in. This is a Bristol pad. I think I found this at Pearl Paint in New York. And this is something that I was looking for forever, was a nice spiral bound sketchbook that was also Bristol board, which is like what comic book artists and cartoonists use. So this was a huge find. I was very excited about this. I'm already going to place this in the early 2000s. Here's, I'm trying to remember their names from Strangers in Paradise. Is it Francine and Kazoo? I want to say Kachoo. This is something I was super into for a while. This was a comic strip idea I had. So I'm going to place this in the early 2000s, which is about when I was wrapping up my attempts at becoming like a syndicated comic strip cartoonist, which is just not really a viable career path at all anymore. And it was becoming less and less so in the early 2000s and late 90s, but I was smitten with the art form. So one of the notes that I would always get back is, you know, the concept of my comic strip, which was always Steve Arino, was too generic, and nobody was interested in the concerns of a cartoonist and come up with a better hook. Around 2004, I did Emo Boy, which was kind of proof to me that, yeah, having a good strong hook like emo superpowers, and suddenly I'm published. So I was kind of railing against comic strips at the time, and I came up with this really ridiculous comic strip called The Stigglefink. So it says Michael Stigglefink, but his name was Harvard Stigglefink. He was the mellow coffee-drinking golfer who has all the right answers, except that he was always wrong and just kind of meddling around. Susie Stigglefink was a robot in junior high, so she's kind of like Small Wonder, if I'm not dating myself. Lots of 80s references. So they had a robot daughter. They had a black son named Theo Stigglefink. Bubbly police officer, hot mom. And then the kid Albert Stigglefink was supposed to be like Calvin. So he had like an imaginary friend, except it was like a playmate or something. And so the comic strips for Stigglefinks were very abstract and weird, and I did send this out to like newspaper syndicates, and at the time most of the editors knew who I was from pitching Steve Arino all the time, and so suddenly I'm pitching this really weird comic strip. I remember I did a week of comic strips where they were just staring at the wall, and they would just comment on like the wall, and it was like reading their minds and stuff. Let's see here. I'm just going to read a random comic strip, and it's probably going to suck. Let's see here. Mom enters. Honey, I'm home. Honey, make me some coffee. Honey, do you want to sleep on the couch? I got honey on it. Yes, so comic strips. Here's a nice little pin-up of the family. Son robs banks. Albert, an imaginary friend. Dad follows son out on date. I remember there was one storyline where they snuck out of the house, Theo and the robot girl Susie, to take Albert to see Bryan Adams in concert. So it's about as 80s reference heavy as I could get. Alright, here's some SpongeBob art. I think in the early 2000s, yeah, I went through a phase where I was really into how creative and weird SpongeBob SquarePants was. So I'm in my early 20s, maybe late teens, early 20s. You know, too old for cartoons, but I'm a cartoonist, so I'm never too old for cartoons. But yeah, really into Rocko's Modern Life and SpongeBob and just the weird stuff animation had. Would have loved to have been an animation guy, a cartoonist, but it wasn't in the cards for me. Oh, I was trying to come up with my own SpongeBob, and I got this like little banana guy here. It's about as far as I got. Banana guy could have been on your TV. here we go. Some more Sticklefinks. Still into comic book art. Still trying to develop my style. Had this idea for using really heavy blacks and thinner lines for the details. So we got Denzel Washington from Training Day. Blanking on her name, but Twin Peaks. It's the first time I tried watching Twin Peaks. Didn't take. I watched like maybe 3 or 4 episodes of it. Really liked it. Dropped off. Finally finished it last year. I watched all 3 seasons and it was amazing. I wish it was still going right now. We got Elvis Costello and some guy saying "say moo." Don't know what that's about. And this is what makes this worth doing, this whole series, is Spider-Man with a gun to his head grabbing his crotch. that's the content we want here. That's sketchbook material right there. And look at this, it's got my fingerprints all over it. Splatters. This is a little comic story I did for a Dark Horse submission thing where you can, I think it was called Strip Search. You can submit your comics to them, and a certain number of them got printed in books, but a lot of them got online, and mine's got online. And it was, let's see here, ideas. Looking for teen girl's heart, life force, energy. Hacks through until he finds heart, bites into it as he walks away. Girl was killed by tiger. He knows one guy turns into tiger and kills him. I hate the forest. The trees have eyes and mouths. They whisper to each other. How did you know? The forest talks, my friend. You said it yourself. Wow, this is deep. This is deep early 20s, Steve. This is a sketch of my boy band, Heaven Sent. It was for a sketch comedy show, but we actually wrote some songs. I believe one of them goes, it's called Stuck Like Glue. Oh, man. I'm sent from heaven above just to make you girls pee your pants was part of it. It's a sketch comedy show. It's supposed to be funny. And that'll do it. That's our first episode of Sketchbook Dissections. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got a lot of sketchbooks, so more to come. I won't do that. That's not cool. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Sketchbook Dissections, where I dissect sketchbooks figuratively, as opposed to literally. So this, right off the bat's got a pretty cool cover here, this dragon, and all these different people are drawing the dragon. I kind of dig it. This cost like $1. I got this at Blick's Art Supplies for like $1. I think it's meant for kids, but it's really like smooth, nice paper. So these things were amazing. So back in like 2011, 12, my best friend's boyfriend at the time was this computer programmer, and he pitched me the idea of making a video game together. I was working on Bright Lights, Dark Nights at the time. I really didn't have a lot of time, but I drew him a couple little superhero things in a background, and I sent them over to him. And the next time I went over there, he had already programmed this little game where they're flying around and bumping into each other, and I was kind of hooked. I was like, okay, let's make video games. This is awesome. So they had this thing called Let 'em Dare Game Jams. And the first, so basically you have a weekend to create a game, program it and everything. And we would do these every like 3 or 4 months, every 3 months, I think. And the very first one we did, I'm trying to remember what the actual prompt was. There'd be a prompt, and it was something like music or running or something. I don't know what it was, but we came up with a game called the Four Hats. And the Four Hats were my fictional band with my friends and I in it. And each of us had a different hat, but we were like the Beatles basically. So we made up this game for iPhones that we actually released, where you just run. You're running from crowds of girls, of fans. They're all chasing you, and you're running and jumping over things. It's a run and jump kind of game. And if the crowd catches up to you, first your pants go flying, and then like skulls and bones are flying. And it was a fun little game. It was cool. Let's see here. We're just gonna transition right from that to the Golden Girls because that's what we do here. We got Sophia, Dorothy, Blanche, and Rose. I don't remember drawing this, but I've drawn Golden Girls on multiple occasions for sure. Here's working on Bright Lights, Dark Nights. The original pitch for it was to be very comic book heavy. It was going to be like a 1960s Spider-Man, and every issue was going to have different villains, but it's all really this kid in this kid's head and school and stuff. So the Everymen were like the first issue villains. So I did like a little comic book. All that stuff got cut. Working on video games, I wanted to do something really spooky, so we have Alley Cross, Undead Alley. It was going to be... I still have a story based on this character, Alley Cross. Here she is dressed up as some kind of butterfly or something, but she goes through her school and there's a zombie apocalypse that happens. And the whole game was going to take place in this school at night, and there was like a lot of weird stuff. At one point there was she gets to the gym and there's this giant dance sequence and you have to like throw basketballs to kill the zombies. And there was a lot of stuff going on. The Murder Broskies. This is another video game concept, another zombie chase runner video game. Oh, so this is cool. Penumbra. This was what became Penumbra. So Sal, the programmer, had been working on a new game concept, and he made a bunch of like temp art for it, like little pixel things. And it was so fun it's like my favorite thing, which is in a dungeon, find a key, find the door, get out of the dungeon. And that's just kind of like a really fun concept, so I was desperate to be part of it. So this is pretty much what it became. This was Penumbra. He's a little black koala bear with a scarf. But I tried a lot of different things. I tried this wizard guy, this little weird alien guy, the fairy from the Alley Cross thing. These are all different original pitches for it. Here's an early concept of him. I started work on this and I regretfully never finished it. I was trying to do, you know those children's books? What are they called? Golden books? I was trying to do The Silentest Hill. It was Silent Hill, but for children. This would have been really awesome if I had finished it. This is the some concept art I did. This became a big poster for Penumbra when we released it with Bulky Pix, the video game publisher, showing his little different steps and the lighting. I think I put a big monster behind him. Here's some more Penumbra planning. These little monsters show up everywhere in the game. Here's some more sketching, what the dungeon might look like, the fireplace, the caverns, all the different levels of the castle, pretty much all ended up in the game. Wow, this is really weird. I don't recall seeing this. This is the Bright Lights, Dark Nights crew. There's Walter, Naomi. That's cool. It's a like totally different style of them, very cartoony. Here's a sketch of Walter and Naomi, a paranoid, cynical, ever-present doubt. Each chapter originally was going to be kind of based like it's its own noir movie. So they were gonna have. I got really into like the old 40s movie posters. So every chapter was gonna have like an illustrated movie poster and some kind of like long rambly noir name like that. It was pretty cool, and I liked the idea, but it just didn't really happen. Here's some Bright Lights, Dark Nights maps. Here's the basement, which is kind of the, you got Kingstown. I was coming up with street names for everything. There's the court. Sometimes you just finish the sketchbook early and there's nothing else in there. So that's the end of this episode. Thanks for joining me again, and consider that sketchbook dissected. Everybody, welcome to another Sketchbook Dissections. I'm Steve Emond. These are my sketchbooks. So we're going back to 2008, I'm going to say 2008, I'm going to go directly in 2008, okay? That's what I'm saying. So let's start right off with something pretty awesome. This is I used to call them purple head guys. I used to sketch these stupid little things with my friend Sarah at work, and we would pass these notes to each other to try to make each other laugh. This guy was basically just one giant head, and he had some like arms that came out of his face, like coming out of his cheek here. And he had this kind of radio DJ haircut and no shirt, and he'd play guitar, and he sang Because the Night Has 1,000 Eyes. That was his song. That's the song he sang. And here's Hamburger Khan, which was like an evil version of that. And he had this little Kermit the Frog mask on. So you see Kermit and you're like, oh, you're a nice guy. But then, it turns out it's actually Hamburger Khan, the horrible villain. Here's a bunch of ideas for the 80s kids, which is a canceled cartoon. It started with my friend Lawrence at work was watching Dawson's Creek every day. He worked from home and Dawson's Creek was on in the morning, and he ran out of episodes and he was upset, so I started writing these little like paragraph long episodes where they all go back to high school and relive their good times, and it was just this dark, weird, disturbing thing, and I decided like these are really, really funny. I'm gonna try making my own actual show like that, and I called it the 80s Kids, and it was terrible. It was, mid-2000s shock humor. It would get me canceled today. Hopefully nobody ever sees it again. I don't stand by anything in that cartoon. Sometimes you just have to shame yourself because of the bad art. There's Penny from Emo Boy. Speaking of mid-2000s shock humor, here's some Tim and Eric stuff. Are they with Bill Cosby, apparently? And I don't know who that is. Dexter? Oh, they seem to be the Castle Crashers. I don't know what I'm doing here. Here's a drawing of Casey from my Flood project, which is a comic story I was developing with this girl, Jen Kwan, and it's something that I've come back to over and over and over through the years. Currently don't have any plans for it, but who knows? Next year I might be like, I know how to do it now. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Synecdoche, New York, but that has the most relatable content in the world because it's a very abstract horror film. Like, it's a horror movie, but it's not scary ghosts and stuff. It's just like life horrors, things that are really scary. And this guy gets this grant to do this big play that encompasses all of life, and like every 5 years he goes, I think I know how to do it now. And it's so relatable because I have so many projects that I just come back to and I go, now I know how to do it. Before I didn't know. Here's another goofy guy that has all kinds of arms coming out of his head and spittle and a giant ear. As you can see, these guys were endlessly ridiculous. Lots of writing in my sketchbooks. Party, song, dodgeball. I think these were all emo boy ideas. Song for Penny. Triumphed only by self-pity. Show why he won't ask her out. I'll run along the beach with you. What do I say? What do I do? Is that the ocean or your eyes? I'm tangled in the seaweed. Left behind like you don't need me. 'Cause I'm a waste. Oh, big surprise. Yeah. I am ugly. I'm not cool. And you sparkle like a jewel. I'm a twig. I break easy. Are you a branch? Will you carry me? I don't know. Yeah. Poetry. My friend Mike Atterbury writes books. Look him up. Mike Atterbury, Attebery. I always thought it should have 2 R's and a Y like a berry, but I did this cover for his book, Bullets, Billionaires, Exploding Monkeys. It's supposed to be like a Bill Gates type of guy. Here he is jumping out of a plane. Here's a nice little watercolor of Steve Reno. Everything I do has to have these moons and stars and walking at night in the woods. Classic Steve stuff. Here's some character designs for a zombie project I was doing. Kind of loosely based off of my friend Leslie, who's an actress. Yeah, this character here is Odie Spencer, who's gone through a lot of changes, but I'm still kind of working on a project with this character. Here's a picture of Emo Boy projectile vomiting as he does. I don't know what this was supposed to be. I don't know if this was going to be like a t-shirt or something, or if I just wanted to do some crazy energy stuff. This was a project I was working on shortly after Happy Face called Nilo. He was a vampire who moves into a gigantic castle on Pleasant Street. So it's going to be like a bunch of regular houses and then this one big tall castle. And the idea for it was to do kind of a middle grade version of the Munsters, where you have this family of monsters, but they're kind of in regular suburbia. But somebody else was apparently doing a high school monsters thing and they didn't want to publish it. I liked the idea, but maybe it just wasn't the right time. Some more sketches of Nilo. His catchphrase was, blah. I don't know if I'm supposed to show this. My original name for him was Douchebag Vampire. I don't know. That's not PC. Why is he a douchebag? Here they are in color. Yeah, a bunch of writing ideas. Let's see what's going on here. Half vampire would need a guardian. Someone funny. Alfred type? Embraces suburban life. Balances out boy. Brings something out. Also, doles out some advice. Guardian makes the place just like home. Let's see here. Mopes and tower. Guardian is all suburban. Nilo embraces... Nilo embarrasses... I don't know what that says. Some of these sketches get ridiculously weird. Here's a Family Matters comic book thing. I had this idea that this actually went like mildly viral. I did this thing called sitcomics, and I would do old 80s and 90s sitcoms, but I would draw them as comic books, and eventually I started really kind of mixing in comic book tropes in addition to just doing a comic book cover like this with Urkel falling over. So we're moving into like 2009, 2010 here. In addition to doing sitcomics and pitching new ideas for books, I started doing these paintings that I would hang up. I still have some of them hanging up around here. I got Sonic the Hedgehog over there. This one was for Final Fantasy VI. I was trying to do like iconic moments in games that I grew up with that always stood out to me, and like running away from the ghost train, and Final Fantasy VI was one of those. Here's the sketch for Sonic in the Casino Zone. Casino Sky Zone, pardon. in the Simpsons arcade. I'll do one more of these for Street Fighter 2 with Chun-Li versus Vega. This is doing the Sick Comics. I started doing I was trying to do not a full-length comic, but this was after they had gone viral. I was like, how do I ramp it up? So I had done Small Wonder as Iron Man, like a Bill Cosby Superman thing. And then I did this Full House as X-Men, where the Olsen twins are these like giant sentinels. I don't know. I made like a 4-page story that I had my friend Elaine draw, and I did the cover for it. We'll end this with first image from Wintertown. This was on all of my pitch material. Evan and Lucy having some heavy discussion. And this Dark Tower series that I did. I guess I was really into doing these series of art. I was hanging up a lot of stuff on my wall, so I did all those video game paintings. I did a Dark Tower illustration for each of the books. Really into these kind of themed things, but yeah, that will do it. This sketchbook is officially dissected. Sha! See you next time.
Up next on MCTV Local 13, Machina Corps brings us Sketchbook Dissections. It's always nice to look back when the demons and monsters were only infants.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sketchbook Dissections. We are going to cut up a sketchbook. We're going to pull its insides out and we're going to put them into our brains and we're going to learn things. It's going to be awesome. This is a Bristol visual journal. What's your story? We're going to find out what my story is. So this is about 2015. My main influence in 2015, Jim Mahfood. I was really into these sketches he was posting on like Instagram, and he was using these kind of calligraphy pens and just doing these crazy, loose, high energy comic book pictures, and I wanted to draw like that. So a lot of, this will be a quicker one, a lot of the stuff in this sketchbook is me playing with a new style, taking a pencil, really just kind of going crazy energy. So like anatomy meant nothing to me as long as it looked okay in my head. Now looking back at the time, I thought these were amazing and that Marvel should be like paying me money to draw their comic book characters. Looking back, not so much. Some of them are really awkward, but I mean, let's take a look. So this is my character Casey. She's from my comic Gloom or Flood, depending on what year it was I was working on it. But everybody had these umbrellas, and she had this tattoo signifying the Great Flood, the Gloom, which was this never-ending rain. It just rained forever and ever, and everything was overgrown and crazy, and all these different societies dealt with it in different ways. Some of them medicated themselves, some of them moved up into the mountains to try to get above the clouds, and it was this whole thing. It just never really happened, but that's Casey. Here she is with her umbrella. That's not so great though. This is, I forget her name, but her hair was supposed to be like a star, like it gets pointy at the top and goes out on the sides, and she was like a total badass girl. Her and Casey were in a gang together. There you can see the star hair more here. Star here, more here. Star here, more here. This is kind of a cool picture. So this is getting into that style where it's just shapes and energy and feet just turn into little spikes. And this one I really like. This one's pretty cool. Her face looks pretty cool. I'm not a fan of these bricks over here. I don't think that worked out quite as well, but you'll see. Some of these I think are really cool and some of them not so much. Here we have Spawn. Forgot about this one. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this one. This is too messy. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of unbalanced. It's not that appealing to me. Spider-Man, that's definitely a clunker. Just not enough. I could see what I was going for with the kind of chunky leg here kind of dwindling away, but there's just too much negative space and not in a good way. This is Ariel. The hair was kind of fun, but not super into this one either. Sorry, Steve. I'm not feeling a lot of these. Okay, this one's cool. This is Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe. I do like this one. So I liked the idea of having a lot of empty space and parts and then just a whole bunch of little details and knickknacks and other parts. This hand could definitely use some work. Gun's kind of funny. That's like a 90s comic book gun. Face is cool. I like the perspective on that. Sticking with G.I. Joe, we got the twins. I can remember when I first got the toy for the were they just called the twins? I don't know. They had one of them had the scar. But I remember when I got the toy and they had like a motorcycle or something like that with them. I was in Vermont with my family and man, I love G.I. Joe toys. Those were so cool. Even more G.I. Joe Serpentor. This is taking me back. Yeah, I must have been really nostalgic at the time thinking about all those different toys that I had for G.I. Joe. Serpentor was a cool look. Here's Magneto. It's one of my favorite comic book villains. Again, I can see what I was going for, kind of this flow and the crazy perspective, but something about there's just too much unpleasant negative space. It just doesn't work for me. I'd have to redo this one. I was really into like color combinations for like sports teams, for comic book characters. I don't know, the purple and the red I thought was really cool. Here's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Got Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo. It's kind of cool. It's a little messy. Maybe it would look better if it was colored or something. More G.I. Joe. We got Destro, and I forget what these guys are called, like Bat or something. This one I friggin' really like. I think that's really cool. I love all the detail and how it kind of falls apart into empty space there. I like the shape of it. Destro's okay, except his arms don't seem to match very much. So much of this was just playing. I thought I had discovered this really cool style. Look at these tiny little hands, these tiny little feet. But I had this idea that okay, if I want to play with abs and pecs and muscle structure, I'm going to make a whole lot of detail and a whole lot of space out of those, and then just these little tiny hands and stuff. I felt like I was onto something, and I was experimenting by drawing a whole bunch of characters that I loved growing up. So I don't know, moved on to Spider-Man characters now. We got Mysterio. Captain America. Is really into doing just these bizarre shapes. Jim Mahfood and Scotty Young would be my main influences here. I don't know what he's doing. I literally thought, maybe I could be a Marvel artist. Could you imagine? Here's Batman. Can we zoom in on this? Alright, we're zoomed in now. Here's Batman, just like mean mugging the camera, flying over the city. And the city's really far in the background, so he's basically like over the ocean right now. just flying and... Okay, here's Superman. I hate this one. This looks terrible. He's very smug here. Superman's an asshole. I don't know what's going on with these droopy arms. And this is wrestler Roman Reigns. Drawing his tattoos was fun. He's Samoan, so he's got those like Samoan, just all kinds of shapes and designs all over his arms. That was pretty cool. Kind of like my Roman Reigns here. I don't know if you can see this one very well, but this is Uncle Jesse Games. I did a Let's Play well before Once Upon a Midnight Gaming with my friend. The original title for it was Uncle Jesse Games. For some reason, Jesse spelled with a G, so it's like ugh, have mercy. I don't really remember why we were going for Uncle Jesse Games. More wrestlers. I got Daniel Bryan here. This is pretty good. Okay, here we have Daredevil. It looks oddly flat. It doesn't look three-dimensional enough for me. I just want to take like a red pen and fix what should be changed here. But I appreciate the effort, the extreme perspective. I love to play around with perspective as much as I can. This is rapper Azealia Banks. I don't know, I liked her 212 song. Her first album was really good. I didn't finish this, but this is Yana Lee. I Am I, Who Am I? God, I love her. I love her so much. She is currently posting a bunch of old music she did from like 2010 or so, which was like my peak I Am I, Who Am I years of my fandom. If you're into just spooky, weird stuff, check out the first like 6 videos she uploaded on YouTube. They're called the Prelude videos in the fandom, but oh my god, this stuff gave me like nightmares and I was just obsessed with it. I started drawing fat wrestlers. I don't know why. Here's fat John Cena, here's fat Roman Reigns. This is, what was the name of that? The Magellan's Castle, I think? I don't know, yeah, I was, again, nostalgic for like staying home from school and watching kid shows or something, but that's kind of cool, I like that. So 2015, my main project for the entire year was trying to do a Civil War book called The War Artist. I had this whole idea. I spent a whole year working on these Civil War pieces. We'll get back to that in a second. First, we need some blue highlighter art. We got Punisher here. Cookie Monster. This is freaking cool. This is a good picture. This is the best picture of Cookie Monster anybody's ever drawn. I like it. Spider-Gwen. I was just trying to see like who was a popular character at the time and how would I approach it with my style. So here's my Spider-Gwen. That's pretty cool. Mario did not translate as well. I like Toad's face here. Princess looks like she's lifting up her dress for some reason. Mario looks crazed. He's been on a bender. Okay, so we're back to the Civil War stuff. I do so many Civil War pictures. I wrote this entire book. I didn't write the whole book. I wrote a few chapters of it, and I plotted the entire book, and it was an epic. It was a huge story, a lot of it based off of real stuff, off of actual relatives of mine, spanning the course of the Civil War and going into photography and art and the artists that would travel along with the armies and draw things for newspapers back home. I worked my butt off on it, but I'm not a history student, and I just clearly didn't know enough. It's tough when you're writing about 1860. Literally every single sentence I had to stop and go, was that a thing in 1860? Was that real? Did people do that? And trying to write a young adult novel when young adult wasn't a concept, teenage wasn't really a concept then. I tried my best, but that one didn't go anywhere. Here's a cool Tribe Called Quest picture. I love Tribe Called Quest. Midnight Marauders might be one of my favorite all-time albums. I just never get tired of that. Electric Relaxation could be my number one all-time favorite hip-hop song. Could be. Here's some more Civil War stuff. Here's Lincoln with some Tribe Called Quest-esque decoration around him. Colonel Stedman, draw a rifle, hat, it's all learning. More Civil War. It's kind of funny seeing that extreme comic book style I was going for and then trying to apply it to something so realistic and down to earth and gritty. Winnie the Pooh characters, this didn't translate too well to me. I kind of like Eeyore, but Tigger looks bad. Piglet's cool. And as all things do, we end with Cable. This should be cool. The detail's cool. The idea's all in place, but his arms are just not correct. Even in my extreme weird style, the arms are not correct. They don't look like... They should be out more. They should be curved more. This stuff's fun. All the details fun. That's a cool picture. It was a nice try. But, yeah. That was my art style circa 2015. This sketchbook is dissected. If you enjoyed that, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want, you can just like. If you want, you could just comment. Subscribing would be the best of all. But, I mean, if you do all three... that's how you win.
Get out of my head and into my sketchbook. As always, thank you for joining us today on MCTV Local 13. I hope you do find your way home sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, we'll be here for you whenever you need us most. I've got the med kit nearby. Good morning, spooky friends. Or is it evening? Or is it, even better, later than that? Time went away when we lost the sky to fire. At least we still have the odds. Welcome to MCTV Local 13, and welcome to Sketchbook Dissections.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
Hey everybody, welcome to Sketchbook Dissections. Sorry if I smell like garbage, I haven't bathed in weeks. I'm sure none of us have. This is an adorable cover. I think I mentioned it once before, but these are like, I wish they still have them. They were at Dick Blick or Blick's in the art store, and they cost like a couple dollars each, and they have like amazing paper. It's just smooth, Bristol, awesome, and they got this cute bear, bunny, and squirrel right there on the cover, and what's not to be inspired by that? So this was the beginning of my video game adventures. So this is probably like 2012 or so, maybe 2011. So my best friend's boyfriend at the time was a like computer programmer, and he approached me with the idea of doing these video games. At the time I was trying to develop what became Bright Lights, Dark Night, so I was really swamped with book work. But he said if you could just draw a couple little things for me, I can play around and show you what we could do. The first thing I did was I made this little guy right here. This guy. His name was Almighty Man. I drew that, and I drew a cityscape background, and I gave him that, and within a week he had this character bouncing off of the walls and shooting little projectiles, and it was so cool to see my art kind of animated in this way. So that first little test actually became the first game that we pursued. The majority of this sketchbook is based around this concept, which was called Fighter Tots. Well, the original name was Fighter Tots, and eventually it was changed to Comedy of Heroes. Like a comedy of errors, but it's a comedy of heroes. I don't know. I liked Fighter Tots, even if it sounds like little tater tots that fight, but that's kind of what the concept was. So my initial thought was to have these little superhero guys, and I'd just create, like, it'd be like Pokemon. There'd be so many of them. There'd be like hundreds of these guys, and somehow you could like trade them, and you'd play this little game where you got into these fights and you'd bounce them back and forth and they'd smash into each other or something like that. I didn't have it all figured out in terms of mechanics, but that was basically the idea, was you just flick things around on the screen, bump into each other, do little pinches and zooms to use different superpowers and stuff. So my first goal was to just come up with a whole ton of these things. I wanted them to be like Pokemon or something. This guy was based off of Maverick, a high school comic book person that I made up. This is like a pro wrestler guy. Viking. This is another one. This is Circuit. She was based off of a comic book character that I made up when I was, I don't know, probably like 12 or something, when I was a teenager. They all come from different places. This guy, this little teddy bear, would be recognizable to anybody that read Wintertown. There was this stuffed animal that had a Justin Bieber haircut. This is Lieutenant. He's like a army guy, but he's based on Lieutenant Dad, which was a character that I did for a sketch comedy public access thing. So the cool thing about Fighter Tots, let's go forward this page here. The cool thing about Fighter Tots was being able to take all of these different characters that I made up through my entire life. I had things that went all the way back to childhood, to when I was really into comic books, into my 20s and the sketch comedy stuff, into my later characters, and I just kind of pulled them all together to kind of create this universe of these little characters. So I just got to draw them all in this style, and a lot of them were animated and had different animations that I made, and different powers and stuff. This was the like the opening screen was Almighty Man flying over the city. Let's see, this is pretty cool. These are my Eric Larson clouds. So this was a lot of these. Okay, so these were like comic book covers. So as we started to develop this idea, and I started doing all these backgrounds, these different cityscapes, we came up with this idea that you would start off in this comic shop, and you'd be looking at a comic rack, and you would choose which story you wanted to play by picking the comic book that looked appealing to you. So one of the covers was like the Mad Scientist, and it would have all his information, and you'd click on it and the book would open up. Here's some more characters. Here's Topaz and Sapphire. They were my shiny people comic book characters that I used for a long time. Some more characters. Here's somebody with a whole lot of hair and apparently not a lot of clothes. This was the main bad guy. I forget what his name was, but he controlled the chaos engine above the city. So there were 3 comic books, and I actually made one of the comic books in full that we'll get to. And the main concept was the chaos guy had this chaos engine that was putting out all this bad energy, and it was turning all of the heroes against each other, and everybody was fighting, and that's kind of the explanation for the game. I believe I used this cityscape for kind of a, like, I think it was like when you lose a battle, you see the person kind of falling down the city, and you're like the hero triumphant up on top or something. I was drawing a lot of cityscapes between doing bright lights, dark nights, and fighter tots around the same time. I was just drawing city after city. Yeah, see, here's your win animation. If you won, you're like punching the person or kicking the person, and if you lost, you're the one that's like, whoa. So Topaz was the, I think it was like SFI or something. So that we had Almighty Man was like the primary comic book where a lot of this stuff was happening. And then you had SFI was going to be kind of like the CSI Miami type thing. They're like detectives, and that's kind of the feel of that comic book. Here's some more characters. Ironjaw was like the jobber. He was like the weak guy that was always just getting beat up and thrown in jail. Everything tastes like metal to him because he's got this iron jaw. Some more writing stuff. The incomparable Almighty Man and his sidekick Legs. Days of Chaos crossover event. Topaz and Sapphire of the SFI. Sebastian Clifford and his muscular cat monkey. See, this was everything I loved about comic books. Like, this was supposed to feel like 1992, which is obviously that's when I was a teenager, when I would go to the comic book store and collect all the crossovers and Spider-Man and Eric Larson and Todd McFarlane and everything. Like, yeah, it was just so cool to kind of work on a project to do that kind of stuff. This was the cover to Almighty Man. This is the main cover here. Here's Almighty Man coming at the camera. He's got Iron Jaw, legs behind him, and then big Chaos guy. And here's the Chaos engine at the top of the building. This is the cover to the SFI. You can't really tell that he's not like the third player. He's supposed to be the bad guy. Here's the cape of Circuit, who's big money girl who walks around with a bright red cape and a bra, apparently. 90s rules. Some more characters. This is Disco Girl. She had this disco ball that she would throw around and hit people with. This was Bunny and Bear. So we recorded like actual dialogue, like voiceovers for while they were fighting, and they would sing E Bunny and I Berry. But the Ninja Bunny would sit on his shoulder and would jump off and attack you and come back to his shoulder. This game was cool. Capehart's like Superman. So the mythology started to develop. And Capehart's like, he's the sellout superhero, and he's got like book deals and movies. And Almighty Man just hates him. Like, Almighty Man's this low-level superhero that wants to be Capehart, but kind of doesn't get any of the respect, and Capehart looks down on him, and he just looks at Capehart as just the ultimate sellout. This is developing the different level background. So Mega Bear, that was his name, Mega Bear and Ninja Bunny would fight near this bridge with the city, and the Capehart level was kind of an up and down scrolling one, and it was like Times Square, but like all of the different things were all about Capehart and how great he is. So that's going on in the background. There's some more cool art here. So I started doing the actual comic pages here. There's Warren and Jenny of the SFI. So the idea of the video game, once you got into the comic, it would actually open it up and it would be a story, and you'd start scrolling through these pages and it would start the story, and every 4 pages or so it would lead into a battle. You'd meet somebody. So here's the chief's yelling at them to go out and get on the case. They're angry, they're walking down the street. Let's see here, they stop and they decide to go do some karaoke. They're always doing karaoke. And here's Disco Girl. So she was like the first villain. Everybody's getting rowdy. Jenny gets drunk and passes out. somehow they're yelling at Disco Girl, and then Disco Girl takes out her disco ball, and it's like, oh, it's on. They get their little shiny outfit, and then that leads into the first battle, so you're fighting Disco Girl. So here's what's happened. So we developed an entire video game. You could play through this whole thing, and the one downside of the game is that the instinct was to just hit buttons really fast and just flicker around until you won, and it was very hard. You could strategize and try to save your powers and hit people strategically, but every time we tested it, people would just flicker things all over the place. Eventually they would win. So we actually emailed Chilingo, the company that did Angry Birds. We sent them an email and said, hey, we're developing our first game. We were wondering if you had any tips or advice. They took a look at the video game and they said, do you have a publisher? We'd be interested in publishing this. We think this is really good. So we got really excited. We had pretty much a finished game. We just wanted to kind of polish it and put it out with Chilingo and collect our paychecks. Chilingo ended up assigning us a producer that just hated the game. He didn't like it. This person wanted us to redo the entire game so that it's always in this comic style and doesn't go back and forth. Like, it just made no sense. Like, the playable part of the game was not in the comic, but he wanted everything to take place in the comic. He wanted us to basically make a new game from scratch. So we just butted heads. We just wanted to talk to the person that loved the game, that wanted to do this. Instead, we got stuck with somebody who didn't understand the project at all. After a while, we tried different things. We sent things. The guy was never happy, and eventually we got an email saying they did some spring cleaning and that they were going to let our project go. So that was our first game. 2012, 2013, 2014, those were my prime iOS game development, animation, level design. A lot of fun. A lot of cool stuff came out of it. It just, it didn't take off the way it maybe needed to in order for that to be sustainable. Anyways, I hope you learned a little something about indie, iOS, Apple gaming, and the coolness of taking all your childhood creations and making something new and expansive out of it. This sketchbook is Dissected. I'll see you guys next week. Like, comment, subscribe, and just, just be my friend. I need friends. I haven't showered in weeks.
Are you still here? Oh, good. I'm so glad. I thought we lost you. We lose so many around here and in such violent manners. Please like and subscribe to ensure your safety. Greetings, fellow survivors. Where are we? What are we? Is this hell? Purgatory? Could this be heaven? No, it's none of those things. It's MCTV Local 13, and up next is Sketchbook Dissections. Enjoy.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
Hey, Macarenas. Welcome to Sketchbook Dissections. I'm one half of Machina Corpse, Stephen Emond. I am a comic artist, published author, YouTuber extraordinaire, and I'm currently working on my webcomic Have Heart, which you can find on haveheartcomic.com. It's spooky and it's weird and it's free. So today we are looking at an old ledger. Now the cool thing about ledger art, I first kind of got into it a few years ago when artist Scott Fisher was doing Inktober, and he was doing these beautiful acrylic ink paintings in these old ledgers. So I kind of started reading about it because it had a cool look to it. Like ledger paper Apparently paper done like before a certain point in the early 80s was just a better quality. It could take ink and it was smooth, and nowadays I guess they use cheaper paper. It just kind of spreads and sinks in and goes through to the next page. But these old ledgers had this really cool paper, and the weird thing is if you look at just the paper itself, it's got lines. A lot of old ledgers have writing in them, and they're like booking ledgers and all these different weird things that have writing and maps and like stuff in it, except you paint over it and it creates this kind of cool aesthetic. So I did a little bit of ledger art circa like 2015, 2016, and I thought I'd take a look through it with you. Standard blank book number 66. I don't know if I ever got a date on when this is from. Our first piece, I had asked a friend of mine, like, what should I draw? I wanted to practice with these inks, with these acrylic inks. I basically wanted to recreate what Scott Fisher was doing because he did this cool art. And I was really into the idea of using white acrylic ink to kind of block out all these lines in the background. You can kind of see through and see the ledger over here, and then you kind of paint to obscure some of the lines in the background. Now, I was still kind of learning, like it wasn't as opaque as it was in Scott Fisher's drawings. Like his just looked like paint almost. And I actually wrote him on Instagram and I was like, how did mine just look like watercolors? And he said, shake it up really good. So, okay, October 15th, 2016. This is in New York, apparently on Petrosino Square. I was really into urban sketching at the time. Like 2016, 2017 were my prime urban sketching years. So I would just go out places with a book like this and paint what I see. Here's another one. I think I was with my friend Elaine. I don't remember what we were doing. We might have been in New York to see a Chris Gethard show. I wonder if that's this date here in 2016. Oh, who's this little guy? It's a little critter. He's a hedgehog or something. That's kind of cool looking. This one I painted some white and then just used some ink over it, but it's got kind of a cool effect there. Here's another urban sketching at the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut in October. I remember sitting there with my friend Ruth. This is when we first became friends. I kind of introduced myself and went over and sat by her, and we sat and drew together, which is something we did a lot over the next year. This place is cool. So the Book Barn, if you've never been, as I imagine a lot of you haven't, if you're not in Connecticut especially, it's like an actual barn. There's actually several barns over this big property, and there's just books everywhere. Books and cats and not sheep. Sheep? Goats. And books, cats, and goats. Just everywhere, and it's so cool. It's like all outdoors, indoors. I've sold a lot of books to them. Just get stacks of books for like $1 each. It's awesome. Here's Mario. Here's Mario shaking his fist. Looking angry. Pissed off Mario. More urban sketching with Ruth out in Middletown. This is right by where I used to live. The Connecticut River's there and the big Aragoni Bridge and lots of cool stuff to draw there. Crescent Street and Union Street. Is that the same day? October 30th. October 30th. Okay. This is that same day. I must have finished early and did some more drawing. And this would be a cool picture, and I'm getting the hang of these acrylics and the inks. The blue is great. The blue and the white are really good. Those are the best acrylic ink colors because they're so opaque. But what's going on with this arm? It's a circular arm that does not quite exist in real life. And that's why Marvel hasn't called me. I can fix this, Marvel. I can fix it. I know anatomy. Come on. Oh, here's a Mog. A Moogle. Save Koopa. It's Final Fantasy. if you're not in the know. There's TV night in November. Every Thursday, my friend Corey and I have TV night together. I did this drawing where I just blackened out a page and used a bronze Sharpie to draw her looking at her phone, apparently. Oh, there's Corey's cat, Herb. Silver marker now. This is this friggin' mouse guy that I draw all the time. I drew him in one of my Let's Make Comics episodes. He's the Icon Has Cheese. Here he is in kind of a 30s or 40s noir movie with a suit, and he's always got the piece of cheese stuck to his teeth. Icon Has Cheese? Baby, please. He's pretty cool. He's gonna be the one that really takes off for me. Just watch. So when I was doing the urban sketching, my friend Katya had kind of organized the Middletown Sketchers of Connecticut, whatever it's called. Like, she made it like an official part of the urban sketching community. And this one was part of their Facebook heading. It might still be there. So the cool thing about the urban sketching was every now and again I'd post something, and the urban sketching like main Instagram page would reblog something I had done. So I had maybe like 2, 3, or 4 of these drawings on their main page, which got like thousands of likes, but never really transferred to much, people following me or whatever. I still have 0 followers. Unless you follow me, and I thank you for that. I got Steven Universe. That's cute. He's back. Here's Icon Has Cheese Mouse. Don't blame me, as I voted for cheese. Oh god, when is this? 2016, November. November of 2016. God, I wish we did vote for that mouse. So my friend Corey is obsessed with Teen Witch, the 80s movie, which to me is mostly famous for the Top That. Oh my god, if you haven't seen Top That from Teen Witch, go out of your way to find it on YouTube. This girl sees like the coolest boy in school, and he's like out there like 80s like b-boy rapping. Oh, by the way, I fell on my floor and I hurt both I landed on my arms, which is not what you want to do when you're like an artist and when you work on chairs all day. But yeah, I'm injured. The coolest boys in school are these white boys, like just hip hop dancing like really bad, and she just like comes up to them and just starts like freestyle super rapping, and oh my god, it's so goofy. Here's I went figure drawing with Ruth in New Britain. And they had this guy that looks like he came right out of the Civil War or something. I think I drew him like 3 different times. This is pretty cool though. There's a lot of cross-hatching and colored pencils going. Remember, it was a snowy day. It was pretty packed. It was really nice. It was a nice day. Oh, here he is again with the FW acrylic inks, opaque ink. That's what do we got here? Oh, and we got Sketchbook Dissections in here. Perfect. Well, that's about as far as I got with my ledger art experiment circa 2016, and a brief jump into 2020. But yeah, if you can find a good old ledger, something from the 80s or before, kind of cool to just paint over it and let the textures come through, and it's a nice, you get some art cred, get some artist street cred. I tell you, when I walk around with this puppy, people are like, oh, he's a friggin' artist. This kid's for real. He's got a goddamn double entry ledger. He knows what's up. All right, everybody, this ledger has been dissected. Like, comment, subscribe, follow on social media. Check out haveheartcomic.com or just follow me on any of my social medias and I'll tell you all about it and show you some art and everything. It's my big project for the year and it's going to be awesome. It is awesome. It's awesome up here and now it's going to be awesome on paper and on the internet. It's going to be awesome in 3 places. Can't top that. Top that! Alright, we'll see you next week.
Nick Nocturne here, the voice of MCTV Local 13, humbly requesting a like, comment, or subscribe. We'll go full Neapolitan and do all 3. Ice cream. Up next on MCTV Local 13, Machina Corps brings us Sketchbook Dissections. It's always nice to look back when the demons and monsters were only infants.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Emon, half of Machina Corps. I do comic books, I do web comics, I do young adult novels, I do YouTube videos, I dissect sketchbooks, and today we're going to look at Wintertown. Yeah, so I actually painted this cover to the Wintertown. You can kind of see it's chipping away whatever crappy cover it used to have. But I wanted a inspiration book. I was going to do all my art and ideas and everything Wintertown in this book. And so I did this little idyllic winter village, the little church steeple and snow everywhere. It's Sketchbook 1, right? Isn't it? It's cool, right? January 2010. So official. Be right back. I'm gonna get some water. I'm back. I have water now. Alright, so this is pretty this is zoom in-y. Man, I used to write tiny. I don't think I really write this small anymore. I don't know, why was I writing so small? It's like crazy person small. Let's see, so we start with the original outline. Act 1, the previous year. Let's see, before he was Evan, he was Steven. I don't know why I have to be confusing. And it's not even spelled like my name. Start with one of Steven's autobio tunes. On a creative high, Lucy Has Gone ends with a hint of sadness. Breeze through the next year. Autobio tunes, plans, day, week, month, year. Check this out, letters. One of the original ideas I had for Wintertown was to have, they were gonna pass back and forth this book. The story, if you don't know the story of Wintertown, is Evan and Lucy, every year Lucy comes from Georgia up to Connecticut and she spends Christmas week and New Year's week with her father before going back down south to live with her mother the rest of the year. These 2 childhood friends basically got separated when Lucy's parents divorced. And for these 2 weeks a year, they come back and they have to kind of reconnect from scratch and figure out where they are. This year in particular, they fall in love. So yeah, lots of little tiny little writing. Going month by month. Dad, go to school, make money, get married. Graham, make art and be a homosexual. Mom, do what your father says. Tiny writing. So these are some little sketches that went into the Scrappy Doodles. You guys have seen me draw this friggin' guy with the arms coming out of his face before. Here's Evan. I was kind of going for a cross between like Ben Folds meets Dawson from Dawson's Creek. That was basically what I was looking at. This is Evan's house. I was actually like driving around Connecticut near these ocean towns during the winter trying to find like where would he live, studying. Like I had an actual map of where things were and what the house should look like. Time for a State of the Union undress. Hey. This is, I think I redrew this at like 14 by 17, so much bigger size with Evan and Lucy in the foreground. So that became something that's actually in the book, but originally it was just a sketch. And this was something kind of in this seaside Connecticut town. I was driving there with my friend Elaine, and I remember we kind of turned in this one street and went up this hill, and behind it you could just kind of look down on the whole town, and I thought that was like a really iconic scene. So I kind of wanted that Connecticut, New England winter, you know, the streets all decorated for Christmas, and inky black skies, lots of black and white, really kind of harsh tones in this. Man, almost any time I have to draw a school in any project, I just draw the school that I went to. So one of the things that they would do in these sketchy doodles, or whatever it's called, is they'd always be like, did you see this? Did you get this? And that I, with Elaine, my ex-girlfriend, we used to, or I guess we still do. We're always introducing each other to different things that we're into. And so that was something that while they're away from each other for the year, they'd be like, oh my God, have you heard Wesley Willis? You got to check out his albums. And can I just learn enough John Mayer songs to pick up girls? Boy. All right, let's hear. You left dishes. Now I'm cutting you. No, stop. Transforms. Laser beams. I was wrong. Probably was me who left dishes. Yeah. We are friends again. That's Lucy fighting with her mom, I guess. So I was really proud of this. I kind of came up with this right in the middle of the book. Lucy's playing with Evan's dad's little winter town titular pieces where he had those little like village of winter scenery and little houses and stuff, and everything was like perfect and clean and placed strategically, and everything was in its right place, which was like the opposite of how Lucy views life and lives her life. And seeing the little perfect winter town and Evan's house always kind of enraged her. Here's summer, Lucy. So when the book kind of inverts on itself and we switch from Evan's point of view to Lucy's point of view, we cut to Lucy's life like in the summer, which is the inverse of winter, and everything's just opposite. Flip it all. I try to find ways to incorporate art into all of my young adult novels. Happy Face did it the most successfully. There was art on every page. With Wintertown, I was writing in third person. I was trying to be more of an author, and I wasn't quite sure how to incorporate art so much. So it's more like spot illustrations snuck in here and there, and every chapter would have like a 2-page spread of just scenery. And at first, none of the scenery had people in it, and Connie, my editor Connie, thought it made it look like it was some kind of weird ghost zombie town with no people, so I had to start populating it more. But stuff like walking through the graveyard, lots of this like iconic winter New England scenery. And so Evan had like a web comic that he was doing. Evan is torn between his wants to be weird like Lucy, and he's inspired by her, and he wants to be an artist, and his parents kind of push him more towards go to college and become an accountant or something like that, be responsible, and don't be a freaking cartoonist, you'll end up on YouTube with no followers. But so he did this webcomic that was about him and Lucy, except they're on like a big RPG kind of Lord of the Rings quest that mirrors the story that we're telling. The idea basically was, you know, stuff would be happening in real time between him and Lucy as he's going through all these emotions, and can we be together? How is this gonna work? And, you know, Lucy being in love with Evan, but he's too straight edge, and he doesn't embrace his real needs, and blah blah blah. And so the webcomic that we see in between chapters actually takes place later. It's something that he started writing after the events of the story. So they kind of mirror the events of the story in a creative way. Some more New England streets. Here's a disturbing Lucy body with a weird smiley face. Once I'd figured out most of the book and I had done a couple chapters, I knew the format. Okay, it's going to have the webcomic, it's going to have the chapter art, and it's going to be whatever happens in this chapter. There's going to be a flip in the middle. Then I started really churning along here. So I'd kind of start with a page and I'd say, okay, this is chapter 3. Here's what's basically going to happen. Evan and Lucy meet for breakfast. It's winter. This is what they do. Struggle to find common ground. Lucy, self-deprecating, low confidence, rejects compliments. Jam strip says a lot. Is this it for Evan and Lucy? If only she didn't move. Changes in the air. So I kind of say what I want to happen, what's it gonna be about, and then I kind of figure out where it starts, and it has to end in a different place. So it starts with them having trouble communicating, and then they're doing a jam strip, which is where you start one panel and then you pass it and the person does the next panel and they pass it back and you create a story together. And through that they kind of connect, and there's change in the air, if only she didn't move. So there's kind of more hope at the end of the scene than there was in the beginning. So I kind of want to figure out that value change, what's going to happen, and I kind of usually break it down into a 3-act story. In this case, they aren't connecting, they bond through art, and suddenly they're on a better page at the end of it. So here we got chapter 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 is clearly a doozy. Chapter 8, chapter 9, I'm just cranking away. Phone meeting with Connie. Jot all my notes down during our phone meetings. The cargument. It's when you argue in a car. Evan's funk, talk with Lucy, epilogue. Alright, so the book is written at this point. Scrapbook, pro and con. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do that Scrappy Doodles thing, which eventually gets cut. This is, so even after you've finished, even after you've hit the end, you go back and you revise and you take stuff out. That whole year in review thing got removed. Scrappy Doodles got removed. Lots of them. I think the ending got rewritten a few times. Here's Evan. And there's Lucy. Lots of chapter art, spot art, illustrations. Here's some Beatles and Beach Boys stuff. So each of the chapter headings were named after a Beatles song or a Beach Boys song. And so like Evan was the Beatles and Lucy was the Beach Boys. And he listens to Pet Sounds at the end of the book, and he feels like he gets into Lucy's mind and he knows everything about her from listening to that one album. I wanted to do song lyrics. I wanted to actually write down the lyrics to Caroline No, because well after I had written a lot of this, I heard that song and like, my God, did it just dead on nail so much of the story. Connie kind of gave me the push to reach out to the publisher and Capitol Records and all this stuff. I didn't get anywhere. I couldn't figure it out. I wasn't sure who I needed to talk to. A couple years later, when I did Bright Lights, Dark Nights, I was able to get rights. I think I paid like $500 to get rights to use lyrics from Kanye West and Nas, and I wanted them to be able to quote actual rap lyrics, and that was important to me. It's just more sketching. So happy. It's a lot of art in Wintertown, but it was, I felt like I just had to kind of force it in. And then I would even do stuff like this, like, there hasn't been enough art in a few pages, like, let's put some Christmas tree lights and we'll just put that on the side of the page, like, just so there's something there. I can't remember if this illustration was in the end of the actual book or if it was only in the end of the paperback. But the idea is they meet up in college. It looks like at the end, Evan's not gonna do his art dreams and Lucy's not gonna get into college at all, and it turns out she does get into college and he does go to the city and they meet each other, and at this point they're ready for the relationship they weren't ready for before. And the back is black. Alright, Wintertown, you have been officially dissected. Hit the like, hit the comment, hit the subscribe. Hit the bookshop. Go get Wintertown. Why not? Hit up haveheartcomic.com. Check out my webcomic. Follow me on social media. Look for all things Machina Corpse. Check out all the other videos on YouTube. By the time you do all that, our quarantine should be over and you can go out to eat or something, alright? I will see you next week. Looks really bruised, doesn't it? Didn't look good.
Get out of my head and into my sketchbook. As always, thank you for joining us today on MCTV Local 13. I hope you do find your way home sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, we'll be here for you whenever you need us most. I've got the med kit nearby. Up next on MCTV Local 13, Machina Corps brings us Sketchbook Dissections. It's always nice to look back when the demons and monsters were only infants.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
Hello, it's me, Chandra Free for Sketchbook Dissections, and today, oh boy, it's a continuation of last time's sketchbook. If you remembered that, I went on a journey through my 1999-2000 sketchbook from my teenage years. Anyway, so here's the sketchbook. Now this one's going to be a little difficult because I go a little crazy in this because there's all these different ways that we can open this and you'll see what I mean. So this is taking place in the year 2000. I am 18 years old. So right off the bat we see that I'm very much a Jonin fan of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. There's a little spooky because I was reading I Feel Sick, story about a girl, and of course here I am developing my elongated style because obviously I loved what was going on in Jonin stuff. I started kind of playing with that on my own. Now we go to the other part here. We have my likes, my dislikes, because as if somebody actually cared. But I liked being full of myself, even though somewhere on here it says I'm not full of myself, I'm just having fun. I'm so full of myself. Anyways, there are little things here that are like my friends from art class. Okay, so here we go with angst. If you didn't get enough angst from last time, boy do I have some more for you. This book is full of it. Anyways, so here I have a little self-portrait of myself. It's actually really nice. Nice shading, rendering. Here's a doll because I guess was getting into corn or some bullshit like that. This is my cross. It was amethyst from my mother. Good. Okay, so this is a mess. There is the gods for the first time. Good god, evil god, limbo god. The gods done at 2 a.m. Cool. So we're gonna just skip to this one. This is a lot, but here's a roach in a pizza box because that's very important to a Florida girl like myself. There's the creeper. This is a character I abandoned. He was supposed to be a jock and he was supposed to be a pain in the ass and a preppy and all that other stupid stuff. Whatever. We don't care. Sith. Guy looking very suave. What's going on here? Ooh, baby. Here's something very lovely, I don't know what it says, we're not gonna read. You can pause it, read it if you want. I highly don't recommend doing that. It's just angst. Some really experimental stuff going on here. Very Picasso, very Van Gogh. Here's a portrait of Tori Amos, and then there's the reference picture. Not bad, not bad. Just look at all that detail. Now my teacher was always very much like, she told us, fill up pages, fill up every side, and utilize everything that we could. And I had so much brain power putting it towards the God Machine. I didn't know that was going to be called the God Machine. It took me forever to come up with that name. One time it was called the Comic. Ooh. Then it was called Divine Comedy. Very similar to the Divine Comedy, but not. But it's because it deals with gods. But I figured people would just think I was doing an adaptation of the Divine Comedy. And don't want that. Nothing worth looking at. Okay, this is good. So this was a portrait of a girl that was in line with me to go. We were at this college. We're about ready to. Is it the Atlantic College? It doesn't matter. Who cares? I didn't want to go there. I didn't go there. So yay! Oh, look at this signature, girl. What were you thinking? So one of the things that we did in high school, and I was introduced to this around, I'm not sure if it was just my senior year or my junior year, or even my sophomore year, but like we started doing gestural drawings. And these are really cool, and these look like they're my own, on my own kind of gesture drawings. Like just figuring out energy and lines of people that are around me, and just like committing that to paper. Very cool. A lot of people in college, when I went to those classes, they didn't understand what gesture drawings were. So, like I said, big into Jonan Vasquez. He's this big inspiration, and so of course, like, I looked at his work and then, you know, I put it to paper because I really liked these characters. There's Squeed, there's Johnny, there's Debbie. But there's something kind of neat about it because these are really almost exacting, and that shows that I have a real clear understanding of spacing. So here's some comics in here. There's Evil God, Good God. Of course, that's just Justin, and that's just me. That's just Jared, and there's me with braces. Those braces suck. Oh, wait. It could help if I put it on the damn screen. Braces suck. My mom just got me freaking braces. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for waiting until before prom. Woo. Nip, nip, yip, 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 yip. Aliens from Sesame Street found their way in here. And this is another little comic. This time it's Good God and Evil God talking to Satan. So they say, now by contract, since, well, that's not how you spell sense, we do create you, you are to be under our control, understand? And I'm sure Satan tells them all about that. So this kind of like puts the seeds down for Satan, essentially. Like who he's going to be eventually, whatnot. But it's not canon. This is not canon. The gods don't even know about Satan. But it sets apart, in my brain, figuring out who he is. Whereas in the last sketchbook, we were going on a journey. This is me taking us to another realm and being excited about what would become God Machine. Like, I'm loving these characters. I'm in my head. I'm figuring out little quirks and who these people are. Here's a great little comic of a guy going to the refrigerator, and when he opens up the refrigerator, all these monsters and crazy, scary things are in it. And then he's like, oh, Mom, we're out of milk. It's a great little sight gag. I should utilize that someday. But it's fun trying to figure out, like, the tone of the God Machine, what would happen. Like, all of these are just setting the stage, the seeds and whatnot. This is cool. We're just going to look at this from the side because it's a long one. But more of this weird alien looking Picasso stuff. This is pretty. Look at this highly rendered evil god. He's so cool. And of course this is just like he's about ready to destroy all humans, and then like good God like brings in the ferrets and saves the day, and no longer will the entire existence die because of evil God. This is good. Okay. The Gothic Society. So here we have Andrew, which I was thinking at the time when I was drawing him, like, what if he had spiky hair like Sonic? Now, this is the first iteration of him. He gets the bigger Sonic hair as I go through it, because duh, everyone should have Sonic hair. And this is his girlfriend, Mortia, and of course I made her the 10th grade slut. That is not nice of me to do. She is kind of, you know, a little promiscuous. But we shouldn't shame her, but she is not a very nice person either. There's Milo, that's the first time we see him, and also Marcus and Aline. Says little sister, but they're twins now. So I wanted to touch on this page really quick. Here's my friend Amanda. She was my best friend. We swapped like anime together and whatnot, but she was going to be the secretary originally. Instead we have Secretary J, SJ, in the final God Machine book, which SJ is based off of my friend Jay, and that came out of the fact that one day he's like, what am I, everyone's secretary? I'm like, do you want to be a secretary in my book? And he's like, okay. That's the story of SJ. Anyways, I had a falling out with Amanda, which was unfortunate, but we became friends again. It just took a little bit. Okay, so again, here's that manic energy, and I think I was suffering from a lot of highs and lows. It's really evident because this makes no fucking sense at all. Next day reaction, oops, what the hell was I thinking? Wow, I didn't even know what I was thinking. So here's a really cute picture of evil God and good God on a rainy day. And she's like, isn't the rain so beautiful? And then he says, lovely. And then there's a little picture of Guy down here. And then there's Angel and Devil Kitty. Now, on the other page, which I absolutely love this. Check this out. This is a caricature of Justin, JT. And I'm doing some weird stuff. More Picasso, Van Gogh kind of shit. Like, the nose is going one way, the eyes are so weird, and it's just really cool. Anyways, really good picture of evil God and good God. These are tiny little drawings. I cannot believe how tiny. Actually, let's get a little closer look. But look at the detail. Wow. What the hell was I thinking? Here, okay, I'm going to read this little thought here. It says, wow, I just checked out my old sketchbook. Sketchbook designs of these peoples. Oh my god, I've developed such a style since then. And it only took 1 month. Wow, 1 month since the last sketchbook. I have produced all of this work. I have really come up with these characters in 1 month. I was going nuts with this shit. I was just like, this is like candy. This is disturbing and deeply weird, and I think this is when I'm going to a different place in my mind. And I'm having a lot of trouble, but also really getting into nightmare imagery, body horror, and it's not bondage, it's just really, this is like going over a couple of things that's just really violent and weird. So I thought I'd show this. This is really strange. Getting into more goth culture. This is really cool. I think I had that Carp Noctum magazine. And of course this is what's her face? Well, we'll go with her character name in the craft, Nancy. I think that's her. That should be her. And I don't know what character either I was coming up with or if I looked at something and I just reproduced it. Don't know. I don't claim anything. I know I'm just sharing a bunch of like mini stupid comics and whatnot, but here's one about me on the phone talking to my friend and I'm eating raisins. Well, I didn't realize the raisins had maggots in it. And I spit it out and I said, fuck, 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 fuck. And as I was on the phone with my friend, and it was gross. I was eating maggot raisins based on a real story. Goofy stickers on the last page. And we're done. That was 2000 and the end of my senior high school sketchbook. I can put words together. All right. See you next time. And remember, follow us on Machina Corpse on all platforms. And follow me at Spooky Chan on nearly all the platforms. Take care. Bye.
Nick Nocturne here, the voice of MCTV Local 13, humbly requesting a like, comment, or subscribe. Or go full Neapolitan and do all three. Ice cream. Good morning, spooky friends. Or is it evening? Or is it, even better, later than that? Time went away when we lost the sky to fire. At least we still have the arts. Welcome to MCTV Local 13, and welcome to Sketchbook Dissections.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
Hey everybody, welcome to Sketchbook Dissections. It's been a little while since I've done this. My goal is to try to do a few shorter videos. Try not to have the 20-minute opus of, a single sketchbook. Maybe try to just do a few smaller things. Today I have a little weird one. This one's not actually a sketchbook. It's a trapper keeper. Anybody that grew up going to school in the 80s certainly knows about these. I got this back when I started doing Emo Boy. It was the first comic book I had ever done. It was my first kind of out in the world project that wasn't, just mine. And so I started having, newspaper articles and stuff like that. And I wanted to kind of keep track of things. That's why I bought this. This kind of just became a trapper keeper for a few years where I thought it'd be fun to maybe open it up and take a look at what's inside of it. And so you can see there's articles, letters, rejections, all kinds of stuff. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Let's see. So right off the bat, here's a picture of Dan Veto's son. He's the head of SLG, and this is the Emo Boy T-shirt that he. I still have one or two of these Emo Boy T-shirts. That's kind of cool. What else do we got? Brendan Burford, comics editor. Guess I should probably blank out my old address. Not that anybody's going to show up to the place I lived a decade and a half ago. Dear Steve, I've been aware of your work for some time now. I'm writing regarding your most recent submission of Steve Reno. It's back in 2006, which is a good 3 or 4 years since I kind of stopped making comic strips, which was my initial passion. That's kind of what I wanted to do for a long time, was be a syndicated cartoonist. There's something very singular about your comics that I find myself attracted to. I like your sensibilities, and I think you have a great grasp on your characters. Your drawings are incredibly attractive as well. Due to all these reasons, I regret that I'm going to have to pass on the opportunity to syndicate Steve Reno. I worry about this strip's ability to connect with the mainstream newspaper comics reading public. In my mind, it's their loss. It's a really nice rejection letter. Sometimes you get the standard form letter, which is kind of how I started, and then I got the form letter with a little handwritten note, and then I started getting actual correspondence, and they'd give you tips and stuff to work on. Let's see here. This is an Emo Boy review. For a while, apparently, I was copying and pasting reviews I'd find online, and I would email them to my mom. Let's take a look at this one. It's from Broken Frontier, an online comic book news review site. This is a review of the Emo Boy Volume 1, Nobody Cares About Anything Anyway, so why don't we all just die? At heart, these stories look at life going on around Emo Boy and how he deals with the complications of living, or doesn't deal with them as the case often is. The angsty teen self-absorption is dialed up to 11 to create a satire looking at some of the shallowness of the average high schooler. At the same time, Iman taps into the core of the human experience, being the geek, the nerd, the left out, the cast out. I had experience. Being that age when, to you, the world really does revolve around you. For every moment where Emo Boy taps into a universal truth, however, there are a half dozen more where the character shows how selfish and self-absorbed he is. Emo Boy's more preposterously pompous monologues and poems are emblematic of this. I loved writing those. I called them e-monologues. Emo monologues. Let's see here. I'm not sure what this review is from. I'll tell you what I think of when someone says the word Emo Boy. Young fans of this horrid new wine rock that spew their self-loathing all over my radio station. Usually it would turn out to be the latter, and they'd spend 3 class periods writing bad lyrics, explaining their situation. Giving these overly emotional, underappreciated brats an icon with superpowers is brilliant. The art is beautiful, with endless curves, just enough exaggeration, and mastered use of negative space. Iman shows off his mad skills well. Oh, that's good. Why wasn't it more popular? Library Journal. That's kind of big. That's you know, they do book reviews. They've reviewed my books. Imagine a 15-year-old spouting dark and dire metaphors, subject to frequent anxiety attacks, friendless, hopeless, abandoned by his mother, and mired in existential anguish. Now imagine him as a superhero. That's Emo Boy. His emo powers frequently spin out of control, resulting in many disasters, like blowing up a girl's head, projectile vomiting across the stage of his favorite band, and growing 20 feet tall and destroying the roof of his school gymnasium. Yes, the story of Emo Boy is laced with humor, his suicide attempt by overdosing on Tic Tacs, battling haikus, and the attack by the Wolfestator. Yet Emo Boy deals with his big issues such as teen love, sexuality, friendship, and peer pressure in a way to which many teens will relate. Although this is a collection of comic book episodes, it reads like a good novel, allowing the reader to identify with Emo Boy. Boy, it really makes you think, doesn't it? More reviews. What else do we got, though? I know we got something besides reviews in here. Okay, what's this? Sincerely, Mary Murphy, Steve's Graham and #1 fan. This is from my grandmother. So, of everybody in my family, I'd have to say my grandmother was the one person who really loved reading anything I did. All my Steve Reno comics, Emo Boy, she read it all and seemed to genuinely love the work I did. To the editor of People section of the Madison Shoreline Times. So I got this in a box after my grandmother died. I never really, I knew that she would contact these places trying to get things for, she got me on TV once on our local news stations, this kind of stuff. In your December 3rd, 1997 issue, you featured an article on Stephen Iman and his cartoons. I thought you might be interested in an update on Steve, possibly for your People section. She's so sweet. In February, Steve was notified that he was the grand prize winner in Follett College Stores and Andrew McMeel Universal Strip Search Contest to discover the next generation of leading cartoonists. You chose wrong, you bastards. I am enclosing a copy of his notification, which explains also that in addition to the $2,000 prize, the cartoons he submitted will be featured in a book, RJ Studio, blah, blah, blah. Some characters from my old Steve Reno comic strip. It's a Emo Boy poster that SLG sent me. It was advertising the first issue at conventions and stuff. On the back of it, the company that brought you Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Milk and Cheese is pleased to bring you the next big thing. I'm starting to feel like a big failure here. Did I live up to all these accolades? This comic will be for emo kids what Johnny the Homicidal Maniac was for goths. My legion of emos. Filled with tears, sobbing, whining, bits of brain, everything you could want in a comic about an emo kid. But don't let the emo trappings fool you. Emo Boy is an insightful and well-drawn look at high school angst, music, and the things both emo and non-emo. Oh yeah, let's get into the newspaper articles. Oh man. So I always loved this headline. It's so me. Can't get a girlfriend? Steve Arena's doodles draw at the humor and pangs of dating. I was like the poster boy for Can't Get a Girlfriend. It was in my local newspaper. I don't think I took any notes in school. I just doodled in my notebook all the time. That's like the big quote that This is cute. Here's me sitting on my bed. This is at my grandparents' house. So like 1994 or so, I moved to live with my grandparents. And that's when Steve Reno became the thing. Let's find a random paragraph just for the hell of it. I used to draw this little guy called Jimmy in that style. He didn't say anything. Then I started doing these Where's Waldo type drawings and I started putting friends in. That developed into the strips where the people in the cartoons are all based on friends of mine. Mostly people who read them know who the characters really are. It's fascinating. It's a 2-page spread in the newspaper. The thing that I didn't like is that I remember we had this like conversation for like an hour and then they would take bits and pieces of things you said in multiple conversations and put it into one paragraph so it sounds like I can't focus for more than 2 seconds. So that one was fascinating because that's one my grandmother referenced in the 97 thing. That was literally, the rest of these newspaper articles were after I won this national contest for finding the next great comic strip by Andrews McMeel, who published like the book collections of Zits and, you know, all the different comic strips. So there's kind of a reason for that. That one that we just looked at was literally just I was a kid who sat in my room and drew comic books, and they made that wasn't published anywhere, and they made a whole article about it. It was a 2-page spread. So DHHS, Daniel Hand High School graduate named top collegiate cartoonist. It's my mom and my grandmother giving me smooches, me looking like I have hair. Wow, look at that hair. It's thin hair, but it's hair. That was nice. Look at that, it gets 2 more pages. Let's find a random paragraph. The Middlesex Community College sophomore sent what he considered to be the 12 best strips from his newest Sweet Nothings newsletter. The issue formed a story, and at that point I thought it was my best issue. I'm still proud of it. I tried to pick the best from the strips. I had my grandma and my mom pick their favorites so I could narrow them down. Oh no. What's this? Iman lives with his mother, grandmother, and a brother. His grandmother, Mary, considers herself Iman's #1 fan. I've been watching him since he was a baby. He never scribbled when you put a pen or pencil in his hand. He tried to draw something. I've tried to encourage him. I've always told him I'm your #1 fan. Here's another local, low-key, condescending. Cartoonist efforts to fathom girls reaps grand prize. You wonder where those markings and doodles inside of ancient cave walls came from? The cave nerd on a Friday night. This is stand-up, Steve. The guy getting eaten by the Tyrannosaurus? That's the cave jock. The girl drowning in the pit of fire is the cave girl who turned him down to date the cave jock. Oh, he's got jokes. Watch for this guy in your comics. Stephen Iman, 20, a sophomore studying art at Middlesex Community Technical College, has won a national award for his cartooning. The contest in which he was recently named a grand prize winner seeks to find the most talented young cartoonist in the nation and share the work with others. So we got some more rejections. So this is one of those ones, it's a form rejection from Jay Kennedy at King Features. But he wrote in it, Dear Steve, I don't know why I didn't see the submission earlier. I apologize for the months-long delay in responding to it. The characters' personalities are good and the premise is fine. You didn't do a good enough job of relaying how the characters are connected to one another. Sometimes the storytelling within a strip is unclear, so I can't be sure what had taken place. The photographic backdrops are novel. For a while I was trying to make comic strips where I would take pictures of locations and I would draw my characters in them. By that, I mean your drawing style is so loose that at times the figures look almost abstract against the photorealism of the backgrounds. Your lettering is so loose that it runs together, making it more difficult to read than it should be. All in all, you clearly have talent, but are still at an early stage of your artistic development. I'll be happy to consider future submissions by you. That's totally good and fair and accurate. Here's the same guy. This is an earlier one. The bad luck at dating theme gets old quickly, doesn't it? Work harder at distancing yourself from the influence of Calvin and Hobbes. Make your characters look less like one another. So I would really take these all into consideration. Every month I would make a pamphlet of a few months worth of cartoons, and I would send them out to friends, but I would also send them out to syndicates. So every month or 2 months, maybe 3 months tops, these different editors, there are only 6 syndicates, so it's not a big deal. They'd see my stuff, and I would get feedback from them, and I would apply that feedback. I would letter larger, I would change the way the characters look, and then I would send out another one in a couple months. And so by the end of the run of Steve Areno, they all knew me by name. Sometimes they would call me on the phone and we'd discuss submissions. This one's kind of cool. August 31st, 2004. Dear Steve, thank you for submitting Steve Areno to the Washington Post Writers Group for our consideration. Unfortunately, we're unable to assist in your syndication effort at this time. I'm not sure if you remember me from my days at United Media. I do remember your work. I don't really have a lot to suggest at this time. Your character development seems to be coming along, but there's still something not quite there for me. I thought the gags that worked the best were when their friends intruded on Steve Areno and Elaine, like the one where he says, "Private conversation, Maria." I also think occasional bolding of words would help the flow of the dialogue. If you don't mind, please resubmit in 4 to 6 months if no one else picks you up in the meantime. I mean, that's good feedback, right? That's if you're getting rejected, that's what you want to hear. Looking back, I understand where they're coming from. I mean, I think I had that kind of Seinfeld curse of which is, I'm just making a comic strip with my thoughts. Here's me. Here's some of my friends. There was no hook to it. There's nothing that you can really sell aside from, do you like this art? Do you like the jokes? If so, do you want this comic strip? When I did Emo Boy and I got that picked up, Emo Boy had a hook. You could explain what the comic was and people would laugh. You couldn't do that with Steve Areno. Here she is again. Same person back when they were at United Media, so yes, I do remember. I quite like what you've done with this, but I couldn't get anyone else very interested. Not sure why. Maybe your humor is too subtle and or dry for my cohorts? Yeah, probably. Hope you get a bite on this from someone else. If not, please feel free to resubmit if you continue to rework it. Los Angeles Times Syndicate. This is 2000. I tried drawing everybody in a new style where they had these big noses and worm-like bodies. Dear Mr. Iman, you recently received a rejection from us for your comic strip Life is Good. Although we don't feel Life is Good is ready for syndication, I did want to write you to encourage you to continue your work. Life is Good is a little too close to a college strip. The characters need to want something other than survival, and I, for one, think a few of them could use nose jobs. That said, we would be happy to see more material from you. Here's Emilago again. 2007 now. Dear Steve, very first thing, my sincere apologies for taking so interminably long to review your submission. Next, thank you for submitting Steve Areno to the Washington Post Writers Group. Even though I subscribe to Charles Schultz's statement that doing a comic strip is saying the same thing over and over again without repeating yourself, I do think Steve Areno has become repetitive. I'd like to see you break out from the formula, if possible. That's assuming no other syndicate has offered you a contract and you're interested in resubmitting sometime next year. Just wasn't gonna happen. Oh, here's some fan art from Emo Boy. It's Amber. And there you go. That's my Trapper Keeper. This went longer than I intended. Oops. That's what happens. And with that, I'm gonna sign off. Like, comment, subscribe. This Trapper Keeper has been dissected.
you still here? Oh, good. I'm so glad. I thought we lost you. We lose so many around here and in such violent manners. Please like and subscribe to ensure your safety. Greetings, fellow survivors. Where are we? What are we? Is this hell? Purgatory? Could this be heaven? No, it's none of those things. It's MCTV Local 13, and up next is Sketchbook Dissections. Enjoy.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
Hey everybody, I am Stephen Emond, and today I've got a kind of a weird one here for Sketchbook Dissections. We're looking at my earliest sketchbooks. So there used to be this store down the street from where I grew up called Giant Oaks. I don't know if that was like a chain, if that was like a CVS kind of, drugstore, and they'd have these little sketchbooks. So anytime my mom went out to the store or whatever, I'd ask her to pick me up one of these little things with, plain white sheets that I could doodle in. So just FYI, these are garbage. These are all going to be garbage. This is going to be a quick video, I promise this time. Here's Flat Top from Dick Tracy. This Stohogie, the Stooge, drawn Prum Face. I'm pretty sure at this point I should be able to spell prune. I must have not known what the word was. Big Boy. D. Tracy. I think I couldn't write the word dick or something. Dick. This was from a Blitz on cartooning thing on TV. It's copying what he was doing. This could have been SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't know what the hell this is. Dr. Mario? Is that what that is? This guy's kind of cool. Dragon Warrior. I was really into Dragon Warriors, really into Nintendo. It was one of the few things that I could connect with people at school about. I didn't have a lot of friends, but Dragon Warrior. I think that's a Mega Man or something. It's one down. Fine linen writing paper. It's got a texture to it. It's hard to explain. This paper bears the distinctive Stuart Hall embossed linen texture made especially for your discriminating taste. Wow. Okay. Yeah. This is what I remember. So I used to fill these books with my own comic book characters, but they didn't have stories most of the time. They were just I'd just draw a character and it'd be time for the next one, time for the next one. And there was this guy that worked at the comic book store I went to in the early 90s, and he was this great artist, and he was trying to get into Marvel, this guy Brian Romero. And I remember I'd bring him my stupid little sketchbook, and I remember his thing was, wow, you got a shit ton of characters, man. Here's Pearl. Here's Bird Lady. This is my 90s comic book super villain. There's always that Strife or whoever, Dr. Doom type. Here's a saber-tooth kind of guy. This, I remember seeing an ad for this little dude in all the comic books. I don't remember who that actually is, but apparently, oh, here's Cyclops and a headless Jean Grey. Okay, here's a comic book cover. Sacrifice. Number 1, February. $3.50. It's expensive. Oregon. Is that how you spell origin? It's not, right? That's got to be wrong, right? Oregon. A beautiful supervillain, Circuit. They're fighting. He's got some weird back muscles going. She's got some guy ass going. This is a very weird picture. Oh, I started drawing an actual interior. We got our city street. This guy's kind of watching some girl down there. That's as far as that comic. So I wasn't a writer, okay? I was a drawer. I was a drawer. Here we got Hulk dropping an elbow on Punisher. This guy's pretty cool. I don't know what he's holding there. Or is he snapping his fingers? It's kind of Shadowhawk maybe? Or Wolverine? It's gotta be Wolverine, right? Ghost Rider. You know what I loved was those Marvel trading cards. Those were so cool. No art, just characters. It's Bart Simpson. So I'm pretty sure that was Megan, the girl I had a crush on in like 1990. This guy's out in some kind of meadow, being a badass. Okay, so here's a bunch of comic book covers that'll never write these issues. Origin of Circuit, Origin of Sacrifice. Circuit finds second half of the moon crystal. Sacrifice kills Circuit. Bandit is originated. Really into the origin story. This guy looks like the Violator from Spawn a little bit. This guy's got a cool mustache. Bandit battles self-alien. Alien kills Sacrifice after Sacrifice killed Circuit. Circuit is apparently back, and he brings Sacrifice back to life. Sacrifice has a girlfriend. I'm wondering if it's Circuit. Mystery Man tries to kill Sacrifice. There's a lot of murder going on here. We've moved up a couple years, I believe, because we're into Jurassic Park time. This guy's cool. Bone, 93. I never even read Bone. I like the character. Tyrannosaurus seeks his prey. I feel like I should have been an adult by 1993. By 1994, I was listening to like gangsta rap and swearing a lot. Just a year later, I was doing Tyrannosaurus seeks his prey. Dinosaur looks like he crapped himself. That's pretty good. I must have been looking at something, right? Oh good, we got more comics. I love a stormy night. Scare the hell out of criminals. That's right. Huh? Fuck. Boom. I don't know what this is. I needed work still. I wasn't there. Street Fighter. Guile, Dalsim, Root. I think that's the guy from Fatal Fury, Terry something. Alright. We got one more. We're almost done here. Thank you for indulging me. Freelance. Tempo. Fury. Not Blanca from Street Fighter, clearly. The Professor. That's definitely spelled wrong. Intrusion. 2 times. Circuit. Deadly supervillain. Beautiful supervillain. Gets killed all the time. The Unknown. I think that's Satan. SR2000. Alright. Nuke. Not Dalsim. Deadline. That's kind of cool. Colored that one. That's nice. Charm. Just got a little gun in her stockings there. Cross. Range. Starblaze. I feel like Starblaze could really be a headliner. I think it's pretty cool when you have like the face mask, but just your tuft of front hair comes out and it comes all the way down to your chin. That's a cool look in the early 90s. Infernos. Jaguar. Transport. Renegade. See, I had a whole universe going here. It would be kind of a fun experiment to just like redraw all of these different characters in my style today, but I'm not gonna do that. Dupe. Skull Slasher. Shit. Skull Basher. They must be related. They're part of a team, I guess. Telegraph. You know this guy's the piece of shit character that nobody cares about. He just like runs out into the battlefield. It's like telegraph. Force field. It's the healer or the shield. Kintoshu. Steve E93. The X. He chops off cats' heads. He chops off cat heads. Diamond. Beautiful supervillain Diamond. Sapphire. Oh my god, now Sapphire is somebody I drew a lot of. Sapphire, I think her name became like Jenny Suede or something, and then there was Warren Cunning was Topaz, her cop partner. In the 90s, cops used to wear these jackets that went down low, and they'd have like a lot of, they dressed like Paula Abdul basically in the Cold Hearted Snake video. Oh man, you know what, I wasn't sure how we were gonna end this video, but this is it. Who the hell is this? So there's a bunch of, is this a real thing? Did I draw like somebody else's character, or did I make this shit up? It's some kind of leery, creepy chef guy with a bowling ball that's really hungry and a bunch of dancing bowling pins and stars coming out everywhere, and he looks like he knows some stuff. These sketchbooks have been dissected as thoroughly as they can be. That is a growing brain. I was probably like 12, 13 for a lot of these. 12 and 13-year-olds nowadays, they're like smoking and murdering and having sex and like driving and owning apartments. Man, I was drawing this burger guy with the pins and beautiful supervillains. I guess things be different. Till next time, everybody.
Nick Nocturne here, the voice of MCTV Local 13, humbly requesting a like, comment, or subscribe. Or go full Neapolitan and do all three. Ice cream. Up next on MCTV Local 13, Machina Corps brings us Sketchbook Dissections. It's always nice to look back when the demons and monsters were only infants.
Sketchbook Dissections. Sketchbook Dissections. Wonderful.
Hey everybody, welcome to Sketchbook Dissections. I'm Stephen Emont. Today I'm going to go through a sketchbook I kept when I was working on indie video games for the for iPhones. I had done a few games with my friend Sal. He was a programmer. I did art and we did concept design together, and I had a book full of ideas here that aren't going to happen, so I'll go ahead and share those with you. So this is back 2011 or so, 2012, that era. So this first one was Maze RPG. That's as far as I got for a name, but the idea was I would create these big mazes and then recreate them as like a Final Fantasy style RPG, and you'd kind of go through the mazes. Things that would be dead ends might have special treasure. LD22, so this was Let 'em Dare, which was a game jam. They still do them. I don't know if it's every 3 months or something like that. And so I'd go over to my friend Corey's house. She was dating Sal, and I would spend the weekend there, and we would come up with and create a video game based on a certain topic that weekend. So basically you have Friday night, Saturday, and then Sunday you gotta finish it. So I did a handful of those. Our first game, the Four Hats, started off as a Let 'em Dare game jam. I did one called Rook Scroll, I forget what it was called, but it was kind of basically a rock, paper, scissors, except with these two castles, and you were constantly doing rock, paper, scissors over and over as the two sides would kind of combat each other, if that makes any sense. So this one here had the topic of alone. Some of our ideas here: survivalist at the end of the world, outer space, some unique world to explore, rich guy tries to buy friendship, gross pig trying to lose friends. I don't know what that means. These are some more sketches of characters for a maze RPG. So you got your ninja guy here. I don't know what these things are all over their arms. I actually tried a couple different art styles for this too that I'll put up. I tried doing some pixel art, and I tried doing some 3D art when I was trying to learn like Blender and those kind of 3D programs. More maze RPG characters, and even more. Oh, okay, so the Four Hats was the alone Let 'em Dare game jam. So Four Hats, the idea was you were a Beatles-esque rock band, and you were trying to get away from your adoring fans, and your fans would chase you and rip you to shreds if they caught up to you. So the idea to get alone away from your fans. So one of the levels was based on Fool on the Hill, and was in this kind of nightmare dreamscape place. These hills and rainbows and mushrooms. Taco Graveyard game list. Omega Pixel. We did make Omega Pixel. Four Hats, Comedy of Heroes. I've gone over that one here. Alley Cross we'll get to. RPG Maze. Young Adult Dating Sim. RPG Slice of Life. This is Alley Cross. Alley Cross is based on a young adult story that I wanted to tell. I was going to do it as kind of a short story or something. I don't think I ever wrote it, but it was going to be like this kind of punk rock, weird, in your face, like just crazy stuff happening every second of the way. Allie is dressed up as a fairy and gets her arm cut off. She ends up like losing all kinds of limbs and eyes and stuff throughout. It's a zombie story basically. She's trapped in a high school. Here's more of Alley Cross. I think the idea of it was she was going to meet somebody, and the boy and the girl each, like, one can't walk from their injuries, the other can't use their arms from the injuries, one person can't see, and somehow they would complete each other in a way that they had one functioning person between the two of them. Some sketches for Comedy of Heroes. Did a whole video on Comedy of Heroes if you want to see that. I think it's under the title Fighter Tots. Omega Pixel was a kind of 8-bit style space sim where you have your ship that you control moving around with your fingers, and you have the Omega Pixel, which the enemies are trying to get to, and at any point you can swap places with the Omega Pixel. So you're constantly flying around defeating enemies, and if they get too close to the pixel you have to switch places and lure them in a different direction. These are some characters from Omega Pixel. Dag was this cat person, Mohawk. It was supposed to take place, I think, in like 2080 or 2180, the second, yeah, it was 2080, the second 80s, so everybody's kind of pixelated and based off of 80s tropes. Zen Cheese is another game idea that I had that it was supposed to be like Pokemon, where you're collecting a whole bunch of different alien creatures, and they would fill up, they were going to be box shaped, and they would fill up the box that is your phone. They were made out of different textures, like they'd be furry and slimy, and the idea, and we started putting this together, was that you could interact with them. You could pet it, and it would look like you're petting the fur, and you could poke its eye and it would blink, and you could just do you could basically play with it. And we found ways having like multiple versions of the same thing. So we had like kind of a dark for pet version and a light for not pet version. So when you pet it, it would seek through to the other side. Here's some of the things. Here's this kind of dog looking guy. This one-eyed guy. Some of them would be really cute and adorable, and other ones would be like all skin and veins and slimy. It'd be really ugly. Some of them were kind of mechanical. This is the one that I worked on the most. These are some illustrations for another Let 'em Dare game jam. This one was for I believe Tiny was the prompt for us, and we went with Tiny Tim. And our friend Tove, who did the music for all of our video games, did a cover of Tiptoe Through the Tulips. And it was kind of based on Tiny Tim's life. So basically, we made this full town, and it kind of, if you go through the top of it, you come up the bottom. So it tiles, basically. And there'd be something like a dozen villagers in the town. And you would whistle to them at the beginning of Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and all of them would reject you. Like, they would just be like, and they would walk away until you found whoever the girl that Tiny Tim was in love with. When you found her, she would finish the song, and it'd be like a happy little you found your love ending. Here's a sketch of Tiny Tim here. Here's the Murder Broskies. So the Murder Broskies is a runner, like a run and shoot thing. So you pick one of the two Broskies and you run down this street. Like you start at a car wreck and then you just run down the street. I think there's zombies coming after you and you're shooting all the zombies, and it's basically your old school spy hunter type game. You're trying to avoid obstacles. These are some icon ideas. Some animation of zombie walking. I'm not sure what. Okay, this is that Let 'em Dare game jam with the chess pieces and the knights and the ogres and the trolls. I think that was kind of the last thing we did. We talked about doing a game after Penumbra came out. It didn't sell the way we wanted it to. We made a few thousand on it, but if it had been featured on the Apple App Store, if people could open up their App Store and see the game, it would have done a lot better, I think. I think like in Brazil it was on the main page, but everywhere else it didn't make the so basically if you looked for video game reviews, you'd say, oh, this looks cool, I gotta try it, but other than that, you don't know it exists. So the game only existed to people who could find it. So it didn't do what we wanted it to do. We were hoping this was something that was going to be a game changer and that we can set off and make video games, and that was going to be our life. And it didn't happen. So I wanted Sal to port it to PlayStation, make a computer version. There were so many things that we were going to do, but I think not getting featured left such a sour taste in his mouth that he didn't want anything to do with it anymore. Sal wanted to just immediately go to new games. I had a book career, and I had books that I was working on Bright Lights, Dark Nights, and it was taking a lot of time away from working on that book, and I had like a summer basically to finish that book. So I didn't really have time to do anything. So we started doing something. It was like kind of a bull riding thing. There was some like huge hit iOS game about like shooting fish out of the oceans. We're like, okay, one screen, not 100 levels, not a million things, just one screen, just a fun game. So we're like, came up with this game about riding a bull and bouncing all over, like extreme bull riding, but we didn't get too far with it. I did a little bit of character design for it. It's about as far as we got. I thought it'd be funny if his expressions kept on changing as he was bouncing around everywhere. Yeah, that's about it. So this sketchbook has been dissected. A lot of fun coming up with all those different ideas, trying to get that cool video game that was going to take off and be, you know, I don't know what the correct word for it is, not necessarily viral, but something that would catch on with people and, you know, ideally bring in a lot of money and whatever. Basically something I did 2011, 12, 13. And then I just focused on books. Sal and Corey broke up. Sal moved away. And that was kind of the end of Taco Graveyard was our video game company name. But a lot of fun memories, a lot of fun projects. It's a shame we didn't get to do more of these different ideas because I think a lot of the ideas were cool, but it is what it is, and it was a fun experiment. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Nick Nocturne here, the voice of MCTV Local 13, humbly requesting a like, comment, or subscribe. We'll go full Neapolitan and do all three. Ice cream.